What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel for another Football Manager related video. Today we are going to talk about what you need to pay attention to when you start at a new club. I've been asked this question a lot throughout my Pentagon challenge series, how I can go into a club, completely revolutionize it and get them ready to compete immediately. It's a difficult one, but I think during the course of this Pentagon challenge, which is over 100 episodes now, I've gone into 6 different clubs and I've been successful at all of them in entirely different geographies, entirely different situations, different budgets, and all of that good stuff. So hopefully today I've got 5 tips for you guys to make things easier for you so that you can transition into winning games quicker. So let's get into tip number 1. So if you've watched me either live on Twitch or in YouTube format, you will know I will bang on about staff until the cows come home. This is my current setup at Hertha Berlin in the Pentagon challenge that I mentioned in the intro. And as you can see, we've got the best team in the league. And I can assure you that was not the case when I took over. When I go into a club, and sometimes you get the email or the opportunity to get rid of staff at clubs if you don't think they're good enough. I almost always do that. I try and get rid of all the deadwood, all the staff that don't help me, don't benefit me in any way, shape or form. And this is what I aim for. This is what I strive for. I aim for all of these yellow lines here. I want to have the best staff in whatever division I'm working in, because the staff are completely underrated. You do a lot of work on the training pitch, and that is where all your work goes in. And if it's not as good as it can be, it doesn't necessarily matter if you've got elite level facilities. If you've got poor coaching and poor staff, you're not going to get the best out of your players. This is something that is definitely within your control, but also doesn't have a massive budget and a massive cost attributed to it. Yes, you can go in and you can get rid of staff. That's fine. It is what it is. But it's not quite the same as trying to improve your training facilities from a good level to an excellent level. That costs a lot. This is definitely in your control. You can definitely do it, and make sure you are using some things just to try and make things as better as humanly possible. One thing I will say, on my staff search screen, you can see here I am using an FM Scout staff search. These views are available on the FM Scout website. I'll leave a link to it down below in the description so you can take a look at them yourselves. Really does help. So I can be looking for a coach here and see this guy, and as you can see, I'm looking for a recruitment analyst. As you can see, 20 in analyzing data, 18 in judging player ability. It's exactly what we need to make our club better. So it definitely does make a big difference. One additional point to this: people don't take into consideration the training tab, and most importantly the coaches tab. This is where you can see how good your team is in training certain areas. I'm always striving for 5 stars. It's not always possible, guys. Sometimes those coaches aren't out there. Sometimes you can't get them. But as you can see here, there's certain areas that I can look at: defending tactical, attacking tactical. I'm only 4 stars. That's same as attacking technical as well. I'm only 4 stars in those areas, but the rest of them are 4.5. So my goalkeeping's fantastic. My fitness is fantastic. We're really good at keeping the ball, which is actually how I play football. So that really does help that me and Mr. Timoshuk are basically dominating that aspect. Make sure you go into here, take a look at how good you are, and that also allows you to find the right staff to fit your club. So tip number 2 from me is to find out how good you are in comparison to the rest of your division. How many of you guys, please do let me know down in the comments below, how many of you actually use the team report tab and actually take a look at how good your team is? And by doing that, I mean going to the analyst report and going over to this comparison tab here. Now, this will only work if your club has analysts. If you don't have analysts, I'm sorry, you need to try and get one. It will help you so much by looking at certain stuff like this. So as you can see here, in terms of the general categories that fall within the teams, We have average age, average height, average weight, average international caps, average youth international caps, player wage, average player value, and players unavailable. So this is how my team, my Hertha Berlin team that is top of the Bundesliga, compares to the rest of the Bundesliga. So as you can see, the average age in the division, let's have a look at the average age. So we are almost the lowest average age in the Bundesliga at 22.71 years per player. And as you can see, oh no, wait a minute, we are the lowest. The highest is Union Berlin, who have an average age in their squad of 26.74. So this is how you can sort of deep dive into everything and take a look at things. In terms of all positions, this is kind of what the sort of all positions tab comes in. This is all a lot of the mental stuff. So as you can see, in terms of a lot of the mental attributes, we are above average in a lot of them. The ones that we are actually struggling in are leadership and aggression. We actually have the lowest leadership attribute in the Bundesliga compared to the average, and the aggression is the one that is behind my head. You guys won't be able to see it. That is pretty bad as well. Something we could definitely work on. But then you can always go into this and go, okay, I think we're lacking in terms of a goalkeeper. How do my goalkeepers compare to the rest of the Bundesliga? And this is kind of what you're talking about. So this tab assesses all of your players that you've got in this category. So you can go onto the goalkeepers tab here and just only show goalkeepers. And as you can see, my goalkeepers are slightly better than the average in every category and exceptional in some categories. So as you can see, reflexes and handling is something I actually do really look for in a goalkeeper. My goalkeepers are the best in the Bundesliga. If you think you need a striker and you can compare how good your strikers are, and you actually go on here and you can see, okay, well, my strikers are better than a lot of the average in the Bundesliga. Granted, they're not the highest in the Bundesliga in any attribute, but you can kind of see here where you stack up versus the rest of the league. And I think it's a vitally underutilized tool. You can really go in and see, okay, well, how about my midfield? How good are my midfielders? And you can go through it, and it actually, as I said, like, it helps you build a squad. If you're really lacking in certain areas, like I didn't know until I just looked then that I was lacking in leadership. So that is something I'm going to look for in players that I go and sign moving forward. Next up is tip number 3. Please do not be afraid to use loans to help your team progress. At Hertha Berlin, I'm not the best team in Germany, of course. There are definitely teams out there who can help me strengthen with some of their younger players. As you can see in this team, I've got 3 loanees into this team. I've got Jack Holland, who's in from Liverpool. I've got Gordon Rezovic, who's in from PSG. And the one I'm going to talk to you about is Luca Moroni. This guy I brought in from AC Milan. And as you can see, he's okay. He's listed as a wonder kid. He's very consistent. It's something that I look for in players. But as you can see, he's a very nice little player. We've got him in on loan from AC Milan. We are paying all his wages, so we're only paying 24.5k, but we didn't pay any transfer fee or any monthly recurring fee for him. As you can see though, down the bottom, his return has been pretty good for someone so young. 17 appearances in all competitions. He's got 6 goals. He's got 5 assists. He's got almost a 7 average rating. He's doing very well for us. Despite not being the best player in his position, he's still young. He's allowing us to get better. He's contributing to our goal effort. And that is exactly what you need out of your loan players. In terms of the other guys, in terms of Goran Rezovic, I needed a little bit of cover in this area. He's young, he's from PSG, he is a wonder kid. Again, he's consistent. He has that vision to unlock a team, and it's exactly what I was looking for in this area as a backup. 19 years of age, he's never going to get a game at PSG, but he definitely could get a game for me. As you can see, he's got 8 starts in the Bundesliga already this season. So make sure you are looking for those loans. Another thing, whilst we are talking on the topic of loans, if you go into your scouting tab on the left hand side, go over here to request director of football suggestions. I use this all the time. Whether or not I actually sign the players is a completely different matter. If you have a director of football, fantastic. If you don't, try and get one. Depends how far up and down the pyramid you are. Most clubs these days do have a DOF. So you can get onto this page, and as you can see here, I've got Jordi de Groot is my director of football. You can go on here, request director of football suggestion, and as you can see, transfers, loans, end of contracts, free transfers. So you can say, I need a loan to go up top. Any suggestions, please? And here is 3 suggestions from pretty good teams, as you can see: Bayern Leverkusen, Manchester United, and and Atalanta. So let's have a look at Tom Davidson from Manchester United. As you can see, if you need a little bit of cover, this guy could be a perfect guy for you to pick up. So very much do not underutilize loans. Make sure you use them to help your team get better. Moving on to tip number 4, and this is to take a look and consider your team dynamics section. I've got a video on team dynamics specifically if you want to deep dive into this a little bit more. I'm just going to run over it super quickly here. The main things are making sure you have happy players in your squad. Now, how many of you look at the team dynamics section? I'd be very interested again to see that in the comments. But as you can see here, I have one unhappy player at the club. Just one. We currently have 52 players at the club, 25 in the first team who are considered to be very happy. The team cohesion's good, the club atmosphere is excellent, and the managerial support is very good as well. Now, there's so many reasons for this as well. If you have a player, as you can see, like Philip Olsen here, wants to leave to get better playing time. One person disagrees with him, which is fantastic. I have no issues letting him go. People just didn't want to come in and sign him in January, so he's going to have to stay at least until the summer. But as you can see, when we have a good team cohesion, players will experience an improvement to their vision and reactions to events unfolding while playing. Fantastic. This will improve player positioning during matches and collective mental state has seen an improvement. So as you can tell, having a good team cohesion makes your team better in game, guys. And the main way you can take a look at this is by going into the happiness tab and taking a look and see what's happening here. If there's anyone here, as you can see, Luke Gross, he is concerned with training. I don't really know, is dissatisfied with his situation at the club, starting to concern whether he should be looking to move to a bigger club. Oh, Luke, you Billy big timer. Anyway, he's disappointed or concerned about training. Let's go into his training. Go into him, development, training. What's the problem? He's on double intensity, so I don't actually know how I can make him train better. Maybe give him an additional focus of the one that usually ruins people is quickness. But defensive positioning is probably where I'm going to put him in. Give him an additional focus. If he's not on double intensity, bang him up onto double intensity. Fingers crossed it should figure them out. Again, same here with my right back. He is disappointed with his training. He's on normal intensity. Let's knock him up to a double intensity and see how that disappears. As you can see, he is now satisfied with his training. And it's a quick, easy way, guys, to make sure your team is as happy as possible. This guy's already on double intensity, but you can kind of see what I mean. You can go in and tune up their training, make sure that they are as humanly possible, as humanly ready as possible, and as humanly happily as possible. You also need to take into consideration the hierarchy. Don't go into a club and get rid of all the team leaders. That just ruins everything as well. Keep that in mind, but definitely pay attention to the dynamic within your team. And fifth and finally, potentially the most important tip from me is do not rush things. If you're trying to implement a system, don't be worried about your first couple of results. It does take time for the players to learn your system. In terms of things I've done before, as you can see on the screen, at the start of this save, the first 2 games, pre-season games, first game we played Barcelona, we lost 5-1. We then played Atletico Madrid, we lost 1-0. In this time period, we had no staff, we were trying to figure things out, we were transferring players in and out. My leading goal scorer from the season before had just transferred to Barcelona. He scored against us. But as you can see, guys, it takes some time to implement these things, and if you're doing all of the tips 1 through 4, you will have some success, you will see your team get better, and ultimately you will see your team hopefully lift some silverware. As you can see here, it took me some time. It took me a couple games to get things right. Don't be reactionary to just one bad result. I could have gone in this game against Barcelona. We got beat by Barcelona. We got beat heavily by Barcelona. Let's just change everything. I didn't want to do that. I stuck with my guns and I went for it. As you can see, guys, the dividends and the rewards are starting to pay themselves. We've only lost twice, 3 times this season. It's a little bit ropey. We lost to Schalke, lost to Bayern, and lost to Werder Bremen, all away from home. So that's something we need to consider. Maybe that's the lack of leadership that we mentioned in one of the earlier tips that we need to do something about. But that is where I'm going to leave things for today, guys. Hopefully these 5 tips have helped you how to understand going into a new club and how to get the best out of them. In terms of this, guys, what I'm going to say is I'm going to go on my profile in my Pentagon save and I'm going to look at my job history. As you can see, here are my qualifications. This is what I've been able to go into different teams throughout the country, throughout the world, and get the best out of them by doing these 5 simple things. hopefully you can have some success with it as well. But until next time, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like on it down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here for daily Football Manager content. But until next time, take care, and I'll see you on another one very, very soon.